my name's Chloe. I've been a data analyst for 4 years now, and I'll be taking you through 25 questions about being a data analyst. Let's go. If you already come from a math or stats background, that's great, but it's not actually required to enter the data analytics industry. Yes, of course. I personally don't have a degree in math, statistics or anything like that. I have an arts degree, and I transitioned from a marketing role using my skills to get a job as a web analytics executive. I know a couple of people that have done an apprenticeship to get in, and a few other people that have been self-taught. Yes, an accounting degree is actually a great start for moving into an analytics career within the financial planning industries, commercial analytics, or business intelligence. Well, personally, I started off by freelancing on websites like People Per Hour and Fiverr. I find that this is a great way to start. Or alternatively, you can start a personal project, and I'll be doing a series of videos all about that here on this channel. Yes, pretty much every industry that you can think of will hire data analysts. So the food industry, the beauty industry, the gaming industry, everybody needs data. I started off as a web analytics executive, and back in 2015, I earned around £24,000. However, I have seen roles start from £18,000 and go all the way up to £110,000. Days can vary, but usually it's a mix of meetings with your team, getting stakeholder feedback on a project that you've worked on and getting in new requirements, organizing projects using time management and project management tools like Trello and Jira, actually doing work in Excel or SQL, making dashboards, that sort of thing. And there's always some time for learning and development as well. Yes, this is one of the main roles as an analyst. It's your job to tell the story about what happened and make this digestible for a wide range of audiences. Usually you'll be doing this one-on-one with a stakeholder, but there are times where you'll be presenting back to the wider business. Well, personally, in my experience, I've not had to do that. My work is quite flexible, and the other companies I've worked for have been flexible. As long as you do your hours in good faith, then it's all okay. However, I can't speak for other companies. The full main tasks that a data analyst would do is to document what's actually happened within the business and report this back, to create presentations, to understand and document data quality, and to visualize data. Well, it can be. There might be some tasks that you need to do on a monthly or weekly basis, or just some tasks in general that might require some manual intervention, which requires you to do a repetitive task, but usually this isn't all the time. Yes, communication is a big part of being a data analyst. You'll be speaking with stakeholders to gather requirements and also to feedback data. So communication skills really help within this role. I think this depends what kind of analyst that you end up becoming. Business intelligence analysts or commercial analysts might spend a little bit more time creating reports day to day, as that's really their main role, is to create reports. In my experience as a product analyst, this was about 50% making reports and 50% analyzing data. But usually there's some reports that you might need to do manually that you bring into PowerPoint presentations that might need to be done on a weekly basis, say a Monday, to report back to the business what's happened over the last week. As a data analyst, it kind of depends what kind of analytics role that you end up in. You can be analyzing pretty much anything, but usually different crafts tend to analyze specific parts of data. So as a product analyst in my previous roles, I would analyze customer behavior. So trying to understand how users interacted with a website. However, commercial analysts might look at products and their performance. And then business intelligence analysts may look more into financial metrics. So it kind of depends what kind of analytics you end up in. Yes, in my time as a product analyst, I would work very closely with software engineers, quality engineers, product managers, finance people. It kind of depends what kind of role you go into again, but yes, as an analyst, you'll be networking with lots of different disciplines. Yes, it can do. Sometimes if you're working on quite a large project and you're pulling data using SQL from quite a large data set, it can take some time for that query to run. So there might be some downtime in between, which can make the day feel quite long. I'd say data quality. Having poor documentation or having missing data or just general data problems, that's the worst part of the job, because that means that you can't get on with your job. I started off with Excel and Google Analytics, and I've been advising people to start with either Excel and Google Sheets, just that basic knowledge, and to pick up one main tool. So this can be a visualization tool like Looker, Google Data Studio, Power BI, or Tableau, or one of the coding languages such as SQL. So as you start to learn SQL, you'll find that there are different flavors of SQL. It doesn't necessarily matter which one that you start with, as they're all quite similar anyway. I think either are a good place to start. Personally, I started with R and now I love it and I prefer it over Python, but it really just depends on what you want to do. I'd say R is great for more statistical pieces of work, but Python seems to have a lot more going for it. You can also build other things other than just transforming data. So you can build web applications and different things like that. So if you're looking for something that can take you further in your career, I'd probably pick Python. However, I'm always waving the R flag. Most businesses usually use both R and Python anyway, so it doesn't really matter which one that you choose. Juniors don't actually need coding experience to start off with. Just basic knowledge of Google Sheets or Excel will get you started, and then you can learn on the job with the help of your team members. I'll be taking you through this in more detail in a future video. However, I think to start with, your portfolio should contain a project that you can speak passionately about. This can just be documented as a presentation, in a Google Sheet, or just on GitHub. Not necessarily. If the business doesn't require you to have SQL upfront, then usually it's just a take-home task that you'll do in Excel and present back to the business. In other cases where they do require SQL, it might be a take-home task again, or they might ask you to demonstrate your skills to them live in the interview. And that was 25. Hopefully you found this video useful and you've managed to stick around and understand my awful northern accent. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll either reply to you directly, or if we have enough questions, we'll do another video. See you soon.